Am I here? Is it loaded? I think it is. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dead Dodge Garage Sunday streaming special. Do you have a 170/6 engine? Unfortunately, I don't. And if I did, I don't know if I'd sell it to you. Big Wrench Tech is here and says, thank you for tagging us along with the drag race video. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Similar to the last time. Slightly disappointing, and I made the mistake of filming it and putting it on the internet so people can complain about it. That was a good time, though. Hey, buddy. Which reminds me. Still got the Square Mile Imperial Blackberry Pie. I guess it tastes like pie. Stage Zero Jason is here with us and says, I'm on time today. Welcome, Jason. Sure. I guess I'm finally going to sell one or both of my spare Barracuda back windows, which I have had listed for sale for 6 months, I think. Big Ranch says, you must do it again. And hi from Florida. I will do it again. And hi from Aberdeen, where I'm now joined by a really weird cat. Stacy's here. Good evening, Stacy. How you doing? Banner says, hey, I loved your drag racing video. How's the gold Barracuda holding up? Any future videos? Oh, I guess you missed the memo. I sold that 2 weeks ago, actually. I sold it to a kid who was trying to restore a really, really crappy 65. Or maybe it's 64. Doesn't matter. Anyway, he's got the gold one now. And I sold the Duster, so I'm down to 3A bodies. That's pretty good for me. Stacy says, shit week. Needs some cheering up. Well, some cheer coming your way. Phantom Pinecone says, I can't believe you did that thing while drag racing. What thing? Making a video? It's kind of fun. It's challenging. Bob says, awesome. Sunday fun time is a go. Yeah, right on time as usual. Dan Berg's with us again and says, hi, Jamie and everyone. Enjoying some pizza. I just enjoyed some leftover tenderloin corn and rice. Enjoyable. I was hungry. Dan Tupper is here. Hello, Dan. I'm sure Rooster will drop in eventually. I just purchased some fine things from him. He's got an old school 273-318 baffled deep sump custom built oil pan and a 340 torquer. So what the heck? The price is right. So those are on their way from Minnesota or wherever. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me again. I've been told you're supposed to get all the burps out before you go on camera, but I never seem to do that. HDF2 is with us and says, what up, DDG? What up? Get into any shenanigans this weekend? I did. Friday, I went drag racing. That was today's video. Yesterday, I went to Tom's son's 7th birthday party. That was fun. It was in I want to say a warehouse full of trampolines. That was pretty cool. And today, I worked on some junk, shabby junk mostly. Worked on the house a little bit. Hung up some strange artwork, that kind of stuff. So yeah, pretty good time. Could have used a little more relaxing. JMR is with us. Howdy, dudes. How's it going, JMR? Big Wrench says, no guitar tonight? Oh, it's here. I just, I thought about an opening song and then I didn't think of an opening song. It's out of tune. Heck with it. maybe later. 3 will turn into 30 by tomorrow. Can't wait. 3, it's only Sunday. Wait, 3 what? What did I say? Yeah. Oh, 3 A bodies. Plus an F body, which is kind of an honorary A body. It's only Sunday. I did buy a Power Wagon. I don't know if at least a couple of you guys are on my Insta-tubes. I posted about that there. 1964 W200 Power Wagon. It's missing the bed. It's got a homemade flatbed on it that's missing the wood. So it's just like the frame of a flatbed and it's kind of falling off. And the cab is super smashed. There was Bondo that thick in the roof. It's amazing. But it's a Poly 4-speed divorce transfer case, 4-wheel drive, obviously, part-time 4-wheel drive. And yeah, it's cool. It even has a title. My friend Dave, who we've like bought and sold things back and forth. He's often in the comments. He's got my 66 Charger. He went and secured the asset for me and then helped me load it, which is cool. It had a seized brake, which became unseized with fire and a hammer. So yeah, I'm gonna play with that for a bit. Then maybe I'll get done with it and sell it and buy 3 more A-bodies. We'll see. Facebook Marketplace should be one of the 7 deadly sins at this point. Yeah, I was doing really good for a while. They're not getting on it, but people keep sending me ads. Tom sent me the ad for this truck, and I looked at it and went, wow, that's a piece of garbage. And then I closed the window, and then I went, did that hood say Power Wagon on it? So then I clicked on it again and went, damn it. And I bought it 2 days later. But yeah, the price was right. It actually has the title. It's amazing. I really like the truck. It's a total piece of garbage. But see, I don't usually go looking for them. They just come to me. The Barracuda, the other Barracuda, the other Barracuda, the Demon. I went looking for the Charger. Most of the trucks, they just appear. Rod Hendricks is here with us and says hello from LaQuay, Missouri. Hey, I have a 68 Barracuda notchback with a big block. I like them. Cool. I like Barracudas. There's one here in town that I might have to try and own sometime soon. It's a 67 notchback. I'm more of a fastback guy myself, but the notchback's cool. Any A-body's cool. Brent Forte wants to know, have you ever heard of 340 having an orange rod copper paint to add weight to a light rod from the factory? No, haven't heard of that. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I've never heard of that. Luke Tichenel is with us again and says, should have kept that little pedal down between gears, my man. Yeah, well, the funny thing is I've been practicing that on the street. And I had every intention of doing that. And then when I just blew the tires off out of the hole, I went, okay, it's all over. And I just kind of granny shifted it. And then the next run, it was just doing that the whole time. And it's a miracle I got it down the track at all. So yeah, I do know how to shift correctly, but it just wasn't on. Stacy says, any chance you'd be interested in a 383 Torquer? Got one hanging on my wall that I'll probably never use again. Trade you for some stickers and a shirt. I'll send it to you on my dime. Yes, but make me send you stickers and a shirt first. You already emailed me once, right? I got to put in another test order. And my wife wants a shirt. So I'll get her a shirt. I'll get you a shirt. I might only be able to get one sticker. I just need to buy a bunch of stickers anyway. I'll probably just do that. Remind me t-shirt size, and if you want the classic or the more bad than car. We still have new designs coming eventually, but we really got to move some more shirts before that. Which reminds me, I don't see him in the comments here yet, but Jorge bought 3 more shirts today, which is crazy. So Jorge gets a gold star. Yeah, that's a hell of a deal. I love the 383 Torquer. It's great. I don't have any intentions of building another short deck engine anytime soon, but I'll be happy to have that here. Oh, and Big Wrench brings up a great point. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, the likey button on the video streamy thingy that you're watching right now, because it does stuff that's good. Tyler C is here and says, how's it going? Pretty good, Tyler. Pretty good. Spent the day working on junk, working on a video on that aforementioned truck. Kevin Weisenbach. I don't think he was talking about me. He did 2 videos on oil filters in the last week. Well, maybe he was talking about me. I do have a bad cam. I wiped out a cam. But he did 2 videos on another channel that wiped out a cam, and they said, oh, we're fine. We have an oil filter. The oil filter will catch all the debris. It's a really good oil filter. No, that's not how it works. I would not say something like that. I'm going to open this thing up and I'm going to clean the hell out of it. Yep. But if he was talking about me, Senpai noticed me. Dan wants to know, is $4,200 a good price for a 70 Duster with a 340 and extra parts? I'm thinking yes. My sister wants to know if I'm okay. I sound a little down. I'm just tired. Very tired. Oh, crap. I forgot to buy my mom a drink. Luckily, she got her own. She's only a little late. And this time I have cider. Well, welcome to it. Banana says, on Friday, I spotted a stock 1968 Dodge Charger 426 Hemi in metallic turquoise with matching dog dish steelies. Fuzzy dice with Boston blasting out of it. I couldn't hear my music when it roared by me. That's the most amazing thing I've ever heard. And I have to wonder if it's the one that I used to have as my desktop background, because it matched that description. Honestly, I don't think it matters how nice the body is. Most people are asking $8,000 to $10,000 for a 340 Duster. Well, and I guess we're not talking about an actual 340 car, I'm assuming, but still, sounds expensive is what I'm trying to say. Tyler says, Jamie, awesome video at the drag strip. Can't wait to see more racing videos. Well, I can't wait to make them. I am definitely planning on getting to the strip more this year. See if I can break something. It'd be kind of cool. Yeah. I said in a reply to another comment that I would be there every weekend if it was a little closer, but it's 2 hours away, so that's a problem. It's a lot of fun. Oh, I will say on the Demon, the drag racing video from today, so far, almost entirely positive comments. A couple people calling me slow and giving me pointers and stuff, and that's cool. You know, I take constructive criticism well. It just, you know, don't be a dick. Totally agree with you, John. The Power Wagon's awesome. It's also a pile of garbage. Average Joe is here with us. Damn it. Watching while at the park with the kids. Enjoyed a nice swinger cruise in sun today. Oh, hell yeah. The sun didn't make it this far north, unfortunately, but it only rained a little bit, so that's good. Average Joe has now not only gotten the new 72 nose on the Cheap Thrills Dart, but he also got the Hemi scoop on it, and it's awesome. I did call him out on the A-Buddies group for not having the hood aligned correctly, though. What an embarrassment. John says, all my lawn ornaments have titles. I try to do that, but like that gold Barracuda, would you have passed on that for what I paid for it, not having the title? It's a hell of a deal. Same with the Duster. Same with the Volare. Those were all sub $500 cars. Like, I'll take them. Tyler C says, what would you like to change before you go next time? Soft slicks? Two-step? Okay, so I need to fix my fuel boiling issue. And the thing is, it probably wouldn't have been an issue if it weren't for the track running so slow because the one lane was closed. But I'm going to add a carb spacer, and I think I'm going to add a filter with a vapor line, which is something Uncle Tony has talked about a lot. He knows his stuff. Anyway, and I know those things will help. But again, I don't think it ever would have been a problem if I didn't have to sit in the staging lanes for an hour. It was hot. So, excuse me, not ideal. So I'm going to do that. The thing is, Tim was there running his Dart Sport. That's the dark red car. I actually showed it in my first drag racing video and a little bit on today's video. For some reason, Byron didn't get any video of him running down the track, which is a bummer, probably because his car is quiet. But he's running on the same exact tires as I am, and he's a second faster, so I can do better. Rooster said, take your center lines, throw some slicks on it, away you go. Yeah, sure, that would be the right thing to do, but I want to see what I can do with what I have, and I know I can do better. So if I had been able to run the 4 runs like I did last time, and it hadn't been so damn hot, boiling fuel and what have you, I know I would have gotten a time that made sense. So anyway, I will just try to suck less basically and add a carb spacer. That's kind of my plan. Other than that, the tune was pretty much right on. I mean, it was really good. I needed to let a little more air out of the tires. I needed to do a bigger burnout, and that's it. Then I need to practice my shifting and my reaction. Ross says 64s are cool. Someday mine will be done. W300. Sweet. Yeah, I like it. I like all Dodge trucks. Banana says, I have to say it was a religious Mopar experience. I went bananas when I saw the little Hemi badge. I would too. Oh, my sister also needs the shirt. Yeah, okay. All right. So many shirts I have to buy. No! Oh. Banana says, my friend 70RT was T-boned at a red light. He's doing okay, but the car is probably done. Dude, tell me he had it insured. Tell me he had it insured. Jorge is here with us now and says, Buenas noches. Buenas noches, amigo. ¿Cómo está? Y muchas gracias para comprar los 4, however the heck you say, shirts. Or 3 shirts. Now you have 5 of them. I have 1. I got 1 more bad than car shirt. Very pleased with myself. But you have the rest of them in existence, which is amazing. Anyway, thanks for being here with us. And don't make fun of my Spanish too bad, please. John says, he was talking about you. Cool. I wondered how long it would take to end up on his radar. I figured it would be longer. Stacy says, consider it done, man. I'll email or message you my details and tracking number when I kick the torquer out the door. Hell yeah. Sounds good. Done deal. Rippler is back with us and says, thanks for the track video. Cranking through the gears never gets old. More, please. It really doesn't. It's amazing fun. And Rodney Bird says, 4 speeds are tricky. You drove well. I think I drove okay. I know I could do better. I could do better, but I did okay. I thought I did kind of okay the first time for my first time ever on a track and driving a 4-speed car. And people said that I was a coward and I didn't know how to shift and I'm an idiot. Anyway, yeah, I really enjoy it. I'm not giving up on the 4-speed. Someone today in the comments told me to just put an automatic in it and all my problems will be over. I'm not going to do that. I am not going to do that. What did I do? Moved. There we go. I actually got a light here, so things are better, but, you know, that still seems kind of annoying. Oh, and I've noticed that this room looks really, really gray on video, but it's totally blue. Figured that one out. John says, old Mopar stuff being stupid expensive is why I get stuck playing with Dakotas. It's not like I'm racing anyway. Yeah, I'm only just now racing. I've only done it a couple times, you know. I'm not a hardcore racer by any means. And yeah, stuff is stupid expensive and it sucks. My car is expensive, but the engine that's in it, I built for very little money. So, you know, there are ways of doing these things. An F-body and a junkyard budget engine kind of comes to mind. But I know what you mean. And Dakotas are fun too. But yeah, Mopar stuff does tend to be quite expensive and it sucks. So that's why when people offer me parts for cheap or free, I just grab them. And that is why all Mopar guys are hoarders. Jorge says, have you touched on the naughty lifter yet? No, we haven't talked about it at all. Well, a little bit. Apparently Uncle Tony was talking about it on his live. Figured that one out. But we haven't really gotten into a discussion on it just yet. We've been talking about the drag racing stuff mostly. And then Jorge says, your adrenaline voice on that first rip was awesome at the track. Yeah, That was cool. That was cool. Like I say, you know, I gotta. Oh, Luke says I'm just bagging on you. You said you were gonna break it. I got excited. I was planning to try. Yeah, I was excited. You know, it's a good feeling. One of the best feelings in motoring that I've ever experienced was when I built the 360 that was in the garbage can CUDA, the last garbage can CUDA engine. This is the second garbage can CUDA engine. God, it's a hell of a feeling doing a big smoky burnout with an engine you built. But it's just like 3 more steps above that to send it down a drag strip and have it live. That's cool. I'm very proud of that. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter how slow I am. It's cool. I'm happy. Tyler says, Jamie, look into Johnson brand lifters. Really high quality, USA made. Don't really hear of anyone having problems. I haven't heard of them. But I'll look them up. Power. Johnson solid rollers. Johnson big block Chrysler, but they're rollers. Okay. I'll check those guys out. We're going to have to put something back in that engine. Tom already joked that we just need to put a roller in everything, and I agree. My sister says only I'm allowed to pick on my brother. Yep, she's been following that theory for years. Nice. Yeah, 43 of you out there now. If you haven't hit the like on the stream, please do that because it does stuff for the deal. Grab a cold one and play the Dead Dodge Garage drinking game. I feel like everyone here probably knows what that is, so I'll spare you the explanation. David Colgrove wants to know what rear gear is in your Demon 410s. And as part of the drivetrain overhaul, I fully intended to put the 488s back in the car. Dale ran quarter mile with the 48s in the 70s. So I'm sure I could at least do the 8th mile with them, no problem. So that is my plan. I decided we ran out of time when we were doing the engine swap video, and we were just like, nah, let's put the driveline back in it. Let's drive this thing, you know, let's do that. So we didn't have time to finish the gear swap. And then I decided, you know what, it would be cool to A-B the engine that was in it and the engine I built, you know? And if I change the gears, that may artificially inflate the result, if that makes sense, you know? Might rip harder off the line, and then you go, oh, wow, my engine makes 100 more horsepower, which it doesn't. You know, I don't think it makes any more horsepower, frankly, but it does launch. Oh, yeah, the other part of what I was saying about being at the strip is it's cool that that car had a 340 in it with aluminum heads, and it wouldn't go. And the crappy budget 360 that I built in my shed with a used cam and heads that I ported, I've never done that before. That one makes enough torque and just goes right out of the hole, just bah, to destroy tires, which is cool. Now I have a traction problem. Avon is here. We can finally start. Great. Thank you. Glad you made it. We didn't talk about anything without you. We were just doing this. We wouldn't do that. Banner says, I pinched myself because I really couldn't believe it. An old woman was driving it too. She also did the best burnout I'd ever seen. Made my week. Oh, that's awesome. What's that thing I keep saying? Someone pinch me. Kick me in the balls. Anything. I need to know this is real life. Scott is here checking in. I feel like Scott is back in the contiguous 48 states, finally. I could be wrong. Anyway, welcome back to Cold Land. It was nice for like 2 days. Joe says Hemiscoop is good. Oh, it's good. It's very good. John says, $500, I'll buy shit in a can. Scott checked in 3 times, so clearly he started drinking early today, but he is retired, so that's okay. Then he says, you've been taking driving lessons from me, slowpoke. Scott definitely drives like an extremely old person, but once made a Ford clutch in an F-250 last at 300,000 miles, which I guess says more about him than anything. Big Wrench says, you should make a sticker that says, and remember. Or a shirt that says, and remember. Well, it'll have to be. No, I know what it would be. And remember. No. Yeah, that doesn't work because then the next word is remember. That's a problem. That's a problem. In life, always remember one thing. Any one thing. I like it. Oh, good. Banana says he had really good insurance for it, luckily, so when he gets out, he'll save for another one. Hopefully this time we won't have to replace 90% of the bodywork. It was extremely depressing to see. I'm depressed for him. That sucks. Where are you at again? If insurance pays it off and I could get a totally horribly wrecked 70 Charger, less all the important expensive pieces. Just saying. Dust Devil Garage, DDG, the other one, the Dusty Devilly one, is here with us and says, howdy, everyone. How's it going, pal? Another beautiful day in paradise here. Oh, and Tyler says, don't worry about cutting a good light at first. The reaction time will not affect the overall ET. Yeah, I realize that. It's just two things. I want to know that I can do it, and I want to silence the haters, dog. Anyway. Yeah, it's fine. We'll get there. Oh, and Luke says, no automatics. Manual swap the world. That's my brother's theory. Oh, yeah, totally. John says, thanks to the Magnum engines, we got a good few years left of cheap small block stuff. Yeah. Some asshole did a video about that. Not GM cheap, though. Fair enough. Jorge says, to be honest, you being directly diagonally across the country, your Spanish is better than most non-Spanish speakers down here in Miami. Yeah, actually, I learned Spanish for a job. I worked at O'Reilly, and my second day, the assistant manager said, can you speak Spanish? And I said, no. And he said, you better learn. So I did. But I listened to him speaking it. Good friend of mine. But he couldn't roll his R's, and the way he spoke it was not correct. And a good few Hispanic people laughed at him. So I decided from the jump I was not going to do that. So I can at least kind of sort of sound convincing, which is a problem because then they assume that I will understand the next thing they say, and that is not usually the case. I have the vocabulary of like a 4-year-old. But I know car part names. Oh, Lovejoy is here. Hello, Lovejoy. How's it going? What's new in your world? Brent Forte says, the kids at Next Gen Garage have a 340 Dart, and they have a lifter failure. Taking it apart, they found that it has an orange rod, and forums say it's common. Interesting. I have not been in many 340s. I haven't pulled the windage tray off of mine yet, so I haven't seen. I looked in there with a light. I can't say I saw any orange ones, but if I do, I'll let you know. That's interesting. I don't know anything about that. Bob says, been drinking all along, good sir. Also, it smells nice in here. Yeah, Mrs. Jamie lit some incense earlier. It's pretty good. Jorge says, I ordered my son a shirt last week since he was upset I didn't buy him one. Oh, when the shirt arrived, it was too small. My 9-year-old daughter stole it from him, and at that point, everyone in the house wanted one, so now all 5 of us have one. That's amazing. Well, I appreciate it anyway. I'm glad I can help to clothe your family. Yeah, I ordered one. I wanted one from the get-go. It's been lean times, and that's the way it goes. You know, you buy 5 A bodies, you sell 3, and you move on. So anyway, this week I could afford a shirt, so I bought myself a more bad than car shirt, and I like it. I like it a lot. And now I have to buy my wife one. So yeah. Brent says, I told them to ask you. Well, they can ask me, but like I say, I don't know about that. Jorge says, oh, doesn't that guy from Hawaii also pick on you? No, same guy. But he was in Hawaii for like a month. Must be nice. I used to work for him. Way too much of an influence on me. And he's my biggest critic, and also gave me the channel name. It was meant to be an insult. Yeah. Anyway. Dave says, oh, it's you're gonna have a bad time, which I think isn't that a line from South Park? I don't know. I use it a lot. You're gonna have a bad time. Dust Devil Garage says, I fired the engine in my Duster yesterday. I still have a big stupid grin on my face. Awesome. Yep. Yeah. T-shirt idea. I think that might already be on the list. I can't remember. I haven't referred to the list for a while because, again, just like I love making this stuff. Not that I do any of the hard work, but I help with ideas. But I think the channel needs a few more subscribers that are willing to buy merch before we really dive into putting more time into it, if you know what I'm saying. John says, if you ain't got grass stuck halfway up your radiator, you aren't driving hard enough. DOT tried to shut down my highway crossing. Oh, Banana says, stationed in Gainesville, Florida. It's a long way to ship it. Damage is pretty bad. Went from a Coke body to a Coke can. That sucks. But I'm still willing. And Florida is quite a ways. But, you know, they ship cars every day. Desert Mopars is here and says, so obviously drag radials or slicks for the next demon trip to the track. What else will you do differently or change? It has drag radials now. That's the thing. It already has that. It just blew them away. I can't say everyone was having traction problems. Some guys have the setup dialed for no traction, street action, that kind of stuff. And those guys were doing quite well. But a lot of cars out there were having major traction problems. I showed the clip of the Challenger running down the track. He blew the tires away. I was talking to him later. He said, yeah, man, there's no traction out there. Several other people that I talked to, same thing. So it wasn't just a me problem. There are things I could do to improve it. I know that. But it does already have drag radials. So I should be able to kind of sort of stick. I know I wasn't getting him hot enough. And the reason I know that is because Tim's wife helps him stage his car and washes his tires and listens and times his burnouts. And she signals him when he's good to go. And so she walked up to me and said, you didn't do a big enough burnout. You didn't get your tires hot enough. And I said, I didn't think I had to do that with this type of tire. And we're running the same tire. And she said, no, you do. And then she actually offered to help me time my burnout the second run, which is why I was looking this way. If you see the in-car footage, and I don't have the line lock hooked up right now. So I dumped the clutch, moved the foot to the brake, slammed the brake, and the car just drove through the brakes. So I'm looking that way, and I started laughing, and she's laughing at me like, what is this joker doing? And anyway, I'm going to lower the air pressure, do a bigger burnout, and launch at 3,200 RPM probably. That's my plan. So I'm also going to add a carb spacer to try and prevent fuel boiling problems. I found one in the shop this afternoon. That'll be perfect. And other than that, the engine, other than the fueling problem, which was a result of sitting in the lanes all day, the engine's happy. I mean, you heard it in the first run. That thing went. So I'm pretty happy with that. The power's good. The timing, the tuning is acceptable. I'm still only running 32 degrees of advance, and I feel like that's not enough, but I was getting pinging at 36. So I'm going to leave the tune alone. I think it's pretty good. I'm going to work on traction, launching better, and shifting better. So yeah, with everything that was going on, like I say, first run, I just blew the tires off. Second run, the damn car was hardly running. It was cutting out so bad. And I was not at all paying attention to shift point or how I was shifting or anything. I was just trying to get down the track. So yeah, I'm a work in progress. We'll get there. Dan Berg says, what is up with the gray hair in your beard? I have a skunk stripe, but it's actually like blondish hair. But I did just find there is at least one actual gray hair right there. But worse than that, I've actually got it coming off my temples now. Like there, you can see it. Look at that. Streaks is coming back. So yeah. Time does that, I guess. Walter G902 is here with us and says, good evening, Jamie. Hope you get all the bugs worked out with the Demon. Yeah, me too. You know, that was only my second time out at the track with it. My first time with that engine I built, the new combination we put together, and it was working fairly well, as you could hear in the first run. Traction was a problem, and then fuel boiling was a problem. So as I was just saying, I'm going to work on those two things. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the setup. It's pretty good. You know, it's never going to be the fastest car out there. That is not what I'm trying to do. My stated goal for this trip was to get an 850, which I didn't come anywhere close to for obvious reasons, but I know it's in that current setup. I will get there. I want to get it to the point where I am almost as fast as Dale was in the day, and then I'll be happy. I don't need it to be anything more than that. I think from that point, I will move on to my next drag car project. But yeah, that's what it was about. You know, that was my first time out with that setup. It held all the fluids in. Cool. Still running. No horrible noises. Great oil pressure. All good. Good time. And yeah, later this summer, we'll see if I can get into the 8s. Brent Forte says, I only drive manuals. It is the way. You sound like my brother. Stick swap the world. I appreciate a good automatic in a daily driver, and my Cummins powered haulers, even though the transmissions are always the weak link in those trucks. I just don't like shifting gears in a diesel truck. It's work, you know, it's not fun. It's work. So I like the automatic for that. And I bought that Toyota to daily drive with a 5-speed, and I was tired of shifting gears in about 3 days. Now I'm in the Subaru, and I couldn't be happier. So, you know, and my charger's a manual on the column, automatic, 3-speed automatic on the column. I love it. It's a cruiser. For a fun car. Yeah, I'm all about the 4-speed. I love it. All praises here, slightly late, but I guess we can let that go. How's it going? Good to have you. Jorge says, what is the meaning of an orange rod? Great question. I don't know. Bob was in the comments earlier and had some good constructive criticism. And again, I really do appreciate that, Bob. You know what you're talking about. I am new to drag racing. I'm not an expert. I'm the first person to tell you that. So thanks for that. Bob says orange rod from the factory is a dipped rod. Didn't meet size, so dipped to add material. Okay. Now that I think about it, I have in the past, I think in a 318 maybe, seen a rod that was half orange like that. And that must be what it was. That must be what he's talking about. I think I've seen that once. He said he saw it in a 340. I haven't seen it in a 340, but now that I think about it, yeah, that makes sense. But I didn't know why it looked like that either. So very interesting. Lovejoy says, finally got all the shit cleaned out of my new to me trailer house. I've been painting and doing other renovations all weekend. My lease ending at my other place really lit a fire under me. That will happen. Been there. Not with a house, but with a business. Walter G902 says, I'll hopefully send out the goodie box of diecast later this week. I saw you checked out my haul on Facebook from the show me and my cousin went to today. Yeah, you've been busy. That was a ton of stuff. I saw that and went, hey, that guy's supposed to send me some diecast. So very cool. Look forward to seeing it. Banana says the driver door is jammed shut. Never seen anything like it. Now his wife is discouraging him from getting another one. He says he's certainly getting another classic Charger. Good. Get back on that horse, man. Get that sweet, sweet insurance payout. And if they try to give him anything less than that 50 plus, whatever he's in it at this point, well, they can call me and I'll yell at him. My mom says, I see you finally got your hat back. Well, I wear it on greasy days and I was doing mechanicking today, so I put it back on. It's very dirty. Dan says he does not recall any odd paint marked rods. Walter G902 says, have you ever thought about doing a video with Derek from Vice Grip Garage? That would be one hilariously great video. He needs to start saving some more abandoned Mopars. Well, last I checked, Derek has like several million subscribers, and I don't even have 9,000. So have I thought about it? About as much as I've thought about playing drums with Led Zeppelin. But yeah, I mean, that would be cool. But I don't see it happening anytime soon. John says, I just got quoted a car to ship from North Carolina to California. It was only about $1,500. That's not bad. That sounds kind of low. I feel like 2,500 is kind of more like it for that trip, but I could be wrong. Prices could be coming down. I've been hearing more stories about like people getting ripped off, taken for broker's fees, and then they never hear from them again. That's cool. Yeah. You got to be careful with the shipping companies. I know that. Oh, Bob says, I wanted to thank you for including that 70 Challenger launching in today's video. Yeah, that's a cool car. I think I showed. So there's this race team, this group of guys called the Wagons of Steel. And they're cool. I'd never met them before. Well, I met one of them yesterday, Friday. They were running those 3 Coronets, and then the Challenger is also part of their group. And all very cool, super nice guys. We kind of BS'd for a bit about boiling fuel because they were having the same problem, and lack of traction because they were having the same problem. But yeah, anyway, it was pretty sweet. I really, really liked that Challenger. There was a time where several points in the staging lanes, I was between 2 A bodies, and then I was between that Challenger and another A body, different A body, and that was cool. Very cool. Banana says, makes me angry about how other people are clueless on the road nowadays. Trying not to think about it, but it made me reconsider driving a classic car because of these morons. I know, and I totally get it, but it's not going to stop me from driving my Charger. It's insured. But having said that, yeah, I think about that sometimes. At least the Charger's like a slightly rusty lipstick on a pig type deal that sort of needs metalwork anyway. If the original Paint 200 Demon got wrecked, I'd be really sad. The Charger's worth more, but I don't care. The Demon is special. Dave says, come to PIR. Good and sticky. Yeah, I think I'd like to do that. I will, one of these days. And someone else was running down there. Who was that? Don't remember. Forte says that's how Motley Crue got the name. It was an insult. Yeah. You own that shit. Banner says sticking to the empty dirt roads and tracks for now. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Tyler C says it's early in the year as well. Track does not have all the rubber down. Track prep might not be on point. No, it wasn't. It was completely green. This was the first day of racing there. So yeah, there's like nothing out there. You know, they prepped it with the stickum shit, but clearly it wasn't good. John says vapor lock isn't a big deal. Just don't idle for 5 hours next time. So I didn't. That's the thing. I was shutting it off, firing it up, rolling it forward to car length, shutting it off. But I think I should have opened the hood as soon as I got back in the lanes, shut it off, and pushed it. I think I would have been just fine. Knowing what I know now, that's what I would have done. And that may be what I do next time, even with the carb spacer, to try and avoid this. But as far as it not being a big deal, well, I mean, you saw what it did to my time. And then, like, I was barely able to limp that car back into the pits. I opened the hood. I let it sit there for 20 minutes. And then I was barely able to get it to run long enough to drive onto the trailer. Like, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. So, yeah. Anyway. But I know what you're saying. And I did learn a lesson. I think with the old engine, aluminum heads, aluminum intake. I have an aluminum intake now. But it was an air gap and a spacer. I don't think it ever would have happened. Just my new setup. I did block the heat crossover in both heads, so I didn't expect problems like that, but here we are. Stacy says, on top of losing 2 family members this past week, it sucks. 2 rockers in the 302 aren't getting oil. Really hoping it's just 2 collapsed lifters and the new cam is okay. Ugh. Bob says, for the low power, higher ET brackets where you're at, get the snubber up tight to the floor as a start. Plant the diff down and maximize ET that way for now. Yeah, that's actually how it is. I lowered it 1 click. It was preloaded against the floor for the last 50 years. And the floor is destroyed to prove it. I actually showed it on video. I think the prepping for drag racing, the last Demon video I did. I showed that. I lowered it 1 spot because I do occasionally street drive the car and I wanted a little bit of suspension, but it's like that much. So, yeah, I will say it did launch better with it against the floor, but also I was having this horrible bog problem there. So that's where I go, well, is it this or is it this? But yeah, now that you say that, same thing as part of trying to get traction. I probably will put it back up against the floor and see if that helps. But it's very, very close. You know, I mean, I figured that little gap that I have would be enough for it to come up, hit the floor, and stop. You know, it's not a big gap. It's this. So I figured that would be enough, but maybe not. Banana says we might just salvage the good parts from it, but the body's a goner. So are the frame rails. I will now start a brigade against cell phones and cars. Yeah. Yeah. I still want it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. John says, salt and alcohol preserves. Between my fat back and liquor, I'm not only never going gray, I was going to live forever. Well, I'm trying. I eat as much steak as possible. Oh, cool. Rippler says, received one of your shirts this week. Great. Now we know your real name. Great quality, great fit. Thanks. Awesome. Thanks for your purchase. I really appreciate it. I love getting shirts out there. We really don't make much money on them, but it brings joy to my heart every time I have to approve an order. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, they do seem to be really, really good quality. 58 of you out there now. I think that is more people than we've ever had. So thanks for joining us. If you have any questions for me or comments about this weekend's videos, you got 3 and a live stream. Wow. Let me know. Drop them in the comments and I will get to them. Might take me a little while, and I apologize for that if you're waiting for a response from me. Like this guy who says, Honky, what you done to grandma? Come on, man. You know anyone's grandma can get it. John says, I only drive manual in dailies because I'm cheap. Yeah, and the Corolla gets 35 to a gallon, and the Subaru only gets 31 and a half. You know, it's a fair calculation. If I were to do the math on how much that would save me driving, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. JMR says the 71 and 72 Demon were 4-speed cars, correct? Well, not all. Mine is. I don't know numbers on 72. 71, there were just over 20,000 or 21,000 Demons total. Half of them were Demon 340s. The standard transmission in the Demon 340 was a 3-speed on the floor. Excuse me. An automatic 727 was an option, and so it was a 4-speed. I think I don't remember which one cost more, but probably the automatic. And so of 71 Demon 340s, roughly 2,500 were 4-speeds, 344 speeds like mine. Roughly 2,500. There seem to be a lot of them left. I see them all the time. Walter G902 says, off topic from Mopars, I hear Yakima is a wild and crazy town. From my childhood friend that lives in Deming, I don't know where that is, and other friend that lives in Klickitat. Interesting. Yakima's wild and crazy. I've never been there. I don't think I've even driven through there. I have been on that side of the state a couple times, but I don't think I've been through Yakima. Joel Shooter says, is anyone taking, say, 32 to 35 Plymouth coupes, chopping and channeling them into a sick rod with rear fenders? Well, you can go ahead. I feel like it's been done. Pretty cool. And Ross says, check out Slipknot's cover of Black Betty. Killer 35. Interesting. Okay. Ouch. Oh. Banana says he got a good payout for it, but he has to use most of it for medical bills. Ugh. That sucks. And Bob says, with 10, 11, 12 second bracket stuff, the auto and converter setups are just plain quicker. You can believe whatever you want, but it's called torque multiplication. Oh, I'm not questioning that. 100% the automatic is faster. I don't care. That's the important detail. I don't care. I don't care about being faster. I don't want to be the fastest. I want to be the fastest I can be in that car the way it was built. I want to improve myself. I want to see what that package can do. But I don't care about, I don't care about that. I'm not going to put an automatic in the car to go faster. I don't want to go faster. I want to go fast enough. And yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a reason everybody's running automatics. There's a reason. And there's a reason I got great joy out of rolling into the water box last time I was out and the kid up there going, he's shifting gears, because no one else out there's doing it. So yeah, that's just the world I live in. I want to do things my way. And that's it. John says, sounded like a shitty strip. Oh, up at Bremerton that day? Well, yeah, like I said, green track, very little prep, it was loose. But I'd hesitate to call it shitty because it's a really awesome place. I wouldn't badmouth them like that. It does suck the other lane was closed. They got it open for competition this weekend, but for the test and tune, it was just the one lane, and that was not fun. Bob also says, Wagons of Steel. Is that those guys up around Creston, BC or thereabouts? Paul the Waiter, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not good with names, but I know they're in my area in the Pacific Northwest somewhere. Jorge says, what was the deal with the Volkswagen Explorer at the track? Actually, you actually see quite a few normal cars running up there. And the lanes that I run in are a street tire lane, street car, essentially. I'm not running a slick. I am running a drag radial, but it's a DOT tire. So it's like you can run in the street tire lanes. That's what I do. And people run normal cars in there. If you look at my first run, because I've got the camera here, you can see what was next to me. It was like a 2020 Ram pickup, 2500 with a Hemi. So kind of funny. People just run what they have, for experience, for fun, whatever, just to get down the track, practice launching, practice whatever. You see that. So, yeah. John says, I stick to a lot of unpaved back roads so I don't blow up my garbage. I have a pretty good track record of not blowing things up so far. I should knock on something, but I'm not going to do it. Dan says, forgot to tell you, the person I sold my car to is going away for about 3 years. He gave it back to me. Oh, okay. It could be worse, I guess. Now, at least if you need to sell it again, I think you should ask for more money. Banana says, it won't stop me from driving mine either, but it scared the shit out of him. He'll be back to the big box in no time. I bet. Well, it's like, I don't know if it would do the same thing in a car, but when I crashed a motorcycle, that was it for me in motorcycles. I was just done. I might get on another one day, but I don't know. John says I can survive my slow speed race through a cornfield. Well, just watch out for Johnny Law. Big Ranch says, I'm still looking for an early Barracuda. Help! Well, I'm kind of on the opposite side of the country from you. I feel like we just talked about this. So I don't know how I can help. Just get out there and find one. They just magically appear in my world. There's nothing I can tell you. I can't tell you how to go find one, because I don't usually have to. Slant Fish Garage is here with us and says, hey, great channel. That Demon you got looks fantastic. May not be the fastest, but it's one of the best looking ones out there. Also, what did you use to block off the heat crossover passages? We used little chunks of steel. So what we did was just cut out two little, they're plate. They're pretty, they're not sheet metal. They're pretty thin plate. Might be an 1/8 inch. Yeah, I think it's 1/8 inch plate. Anyway, whatever. And then I put a bevel on the crossover ports with a carbide, you know, the thing, the angry end, and then inserted them in there and just welded around it. And obviously, like, you're welding steel to cast iron. It's not ideal, but it's not structural. And it worked. So that's what we did. There are other ways to do it. I've heard of filling them with JB weld. I've heard of, I don't know, I've seen guys put metal in the gasket, but I just don't like that. So yeah, we welded chunks of steel in there and it seems to work. But I'm still having fuel blowing problems because I'm not using an air gap type manifold and I'm not using a carb spacer. I wanted to get the hood clearance so I could put the Mopar Performance air cleaner back on, and I did. But now I'm probably going to lose it when I put the carb spacer in there. Anyway, that's what I did. And thanks for watching. I will say on my Demon, it looks amazing. It's not as nice as it looks on camera. You know, it's got dings and scratches and little dents and stuff. And it was raced hard in the day. But it's original paint and it's sweet. I love it, flaws and all. It's more than nice enough for me. Ross says, try running Rec Boat gas. Non-ethanol may help on vapor lock. Interesting. I don't know where I would get that locally. I may have to look into that. I haven't heard of special boat fuel. I mean, I know about non-ethanol fuel. The problem is the station right here by my house only has non-ethanol 87. And I'm not running 87. Dan says that's a good idea. Yeah, I may have to look into that. YT viewers here with us again. It says, my 66 Valiant is getting a new gauge cluster. Long story. Is there anything else I should change out, replace at the same time beside the gauge light bulbs? Well, make sure you got a good limiter on the back for the gauges. I assume if it's getting a new cluster, that's probably part of the equation. Nothing really comes to mind. Oh, that is a damn fine idea. Yeah, I should do that. JMR says add a 1/4 to 3/8 inch plate for the pinion snubber to hit against. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that. I hadn't thought of that. And that'll also lower the pinion snubber surface back toward where it's supposed to be. So that would be a good help. My mom says the gray hair is a genetic curse. Sorry, that's my fault. Yeah, it is what it is. Brent says, now I can't wait to see you open up your 340 and if it's got any orange rods. And that white dart from 2 days video was sweet. White. Oh, yeah, the 68. Yeah, pretty cool. I was going to do more video on that, but then I think we had to move in the lanes and I didn't do it. Super nice guy. Kind of talked to him for a bit. If you saw in his scoop, it said, built by daughter, raced by father. His daughter totally built that 512 stroker engine for her senior project, which is amazing and super cool. He says she's scared of the car, so she won't drive it. Something about him getting sideways at a track somewhere. But yeah, really, really neat. It had a racing seat and a roll bar, and obviously a big, gnarly built big block and hood scoop. But other than that, mostly complete stock interior. It did have a floor shifter, B&M floor shifter. Yeah, mostly a stock car. Really liked that. But I like all A-bodies, so I guess that's not really saying much. I was almost, or maybe you mean the white 70 that rolled, or 71 that rolled up. That one got me excited too. They all do. Bob says, fuel percolates, boils, at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so it doesn't take long to flood the AC with fuel as the vapors vent out the bowl. You may look at a fuel cool can ice on hurry up and wait in the lanes, hot days. Yeah, I've seen those systems. Yeah, and that makes sense. I'm going to try, you know, you could probably tell by now, the spirit of this car is not exactly high dollar. It's not exactly high tech. It's basically all In fact, it's closer now than when I got it. It's kind of true to how it was raced in the 70s for the most part. So I'm inclined to try the cheapest, quickest, easiest, more basic thing first. And that will be a spacer and a vapor vent filter. I think that will help. But we'll see. I'm hoping that I will also be smarter next time and use smart tricks like opening the hood and not running the car to help keep the heat down. So we'll see. But yeah, I know that could work quite well. Did you guys see that? It's like a hair floating through the air. Pretty cool. Rocket Tom dropped in. Oh, good. Quick check-in tonight. Puking kid. Might have something to do with the giant tub of popcorn he had at a movie. Okay, that could be related. Tom just can't catch a break. His kids just keep getting sick. Al is here with us and says, spring is here. I want to run my 18 Power Wagon. Yes, not a muscle car, just to see. Cool, do it. I actually like the idea of a newer Power Wagon. I really do. I wish they put Cummins in them, but no. But yeah, it's neat. I love all Power Wagons. And after I kind of read up on the modern one, I think that's pretty cool. Maybe someday I'll have one, but it'd have to be cheap because I'm cheap usually. John says, if you're trying to be the fastest, you ain't using an LA. No, you're using a big block and boost. Yeah, exactly. I like LA engines. It's like, I don't know, guys. It's kind of just my whole thing in life. Like, I want to do as much as I can with as little as possible. It's the reason my recordings, my music is recorded in a home studio with crappy microphones and mostly cheap equipment. And I knock it out. I don't try to make it perfect. I just do it. And then it's done. And on to the next thing. It's the same reason all of my videos are made on an iPhone instead of like professional camera equipment. I just like to do as much as I can with as little as possible. That's where I find the fun. So anyway, you're absolutely right. Although LAs can make a lot of power. And our good friend Charlie Day, his brother's here too. That's weird. Or at least he was. Says, what's better than one 7-string guitar, you say? Two 7-string guitars. Nail them together. Does that make a 14-string guitar? I think it does. And Jordan Davis, who I often throw under the bus, whenever possible, in fact, says, well, we need to change that. But I'm not sure what it is we're changing. Oh, yeah. And he helped me do that block-off deal in those heads and says it was definitely 1/8-inch plate. Yep. Yeah. Jordan helped me do that whole engine thing. It was supposed to be for his car. And then it ended up being my car. Anyway, and then eventually it'll be Charlie Day's car. But anyway, keeping it in the family and what have you. But yeah, we did that block off. Never done that before. We ported the heads, did a gasket match on the heads and the intake. I've done a gasket match, but we also did some cleanup work. We took down all the sharp points in the chambers, trying to prevent hot spots and pre-ignition. It didn't work, but we did it. Anyway. And I think the results speak for themselves. Yeah, Dan says in the Pacific Northwest, the last 80-degree Fahrenheit day was in the middle of last October, so the track not being up to stuff is no surprise. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not saying anything about the track. There is no reason to do that. That's just what it is. First run of the season and the first decent weather. John says, I'd be scared to race that demon because it's clean. Well, again, it's not as clean as it looks, and it got hit on a drag strip in like the 70s. So, whatever. But yeah, I get it. And it's an antique. It's something very special. But it was just important to me to get it out there and get it doing what it was meant to do. And it's kind of important to me to try and do that okay-ish. But yeah, I'm also like, I have that same thing in my mind as I'm racing it. And I tried to drive that point home the first time when everyone was making fun of me, for being slow and not bank shifting it. I was trying to explain to people, It's a 2-owner 340 Demon with 86,000 miles and original paint. I don't want to break it. I don't want to window the block. But anyway, I'm not scared to run it down the track. I feel pretty safe doing that. I'm not a great race car driver, but I am mostly responsible. Mostly. Bob says, regarding tracks and daily drivers, plenty of folks take everyday cars out at the Nürburgring. That stuff cracks me up. That's awesome. Bob says, gotta love A-bodies. Used to drive my 70 Swinger to the track, uncork the headers, tech, drop to 9 PSI, and click off low 10s on a foot launch. Collect my money, recork, drive home. Gave the Chevys fits. It's awesome. Super cool. Super cool. Leanburn wants to know. Leanburn. Oh, that username it's a double-edged sword. Anyway, I like it, but it also gives me bad flashbacks. Oh, by the way, I'm trying to find a Leanburn car for a video so I can do a conversion, excuse me, and explain to everyone the horror that is Leanburn. More on that later. Anyway, Leanburn says, do you prefer the original Chrysler RV2 AC compressor over a modern Sandon style compressor on an old Mopar? I like the RV2 because it's original and it's what belongs there, but I totally understand the modern setup. It's lighter. It's better. The RV2 is cool because it's got its own sealed oil system, so you don't have to worry about that. It's also cool because you can turn it into an air compressor really easy because it's got its own sealed oiling system. Prefer, I just don't know. The RV2 looks right. The Sandon's better. So what kind of car are you building? You know, a factory appearing restoration or a car that works? It's your choice. Evan Ford is here with us. Evan Ford, of course, our local classic Chevy truck collector. He also has some cool muscle cars as well. But anyway, Evan says, love the fact that you're rocking an old 4-speed car. Nothing more gratifying than grabbing gears. The quality in your content has improved dramatically. Keep it up. Thank you very much, my friend. I really appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. It really is gratifying, even if I'm bad at it. And that's, again, it's just something I want to drive home. Like, I'm not a professional race car driver, and I am not planning, trying, or intending to be the fastest guy out there or the fastest guy anywhere. But I'm going to do it with the clutch pedal. So, yeah. Banana says, oh, I might make a Lego 70 Charger in honor of the fallen one. That thing was like family to him, especially because his dad owned one in the same color back in the day. Man, that whole thing with that car has just been trials and tribulations. I really feel for the guy. Yeah, you better just build a Lego 70. John says, King Richard has demanded our town have corn-free in all grades. Well, good. Walter G902 wants to know, does any automotive shops use BG products? They make an ethanol dryer additive we use at work. The guy I work with uses it in his 67 Nova. I put a bottle in my Camaro every other fill up. I got to tell you guys, on the ethanol fuel, I've never really had problems with it. Really haven't. I mean, even my Charger was sitting. This is the thing that I have told you not to do. Let your car sit with ethanol fuel in it all winter. My Charger just did. It's fine. Fired right up. I drove it to Rocket this week. It was awesome. No problems. But I've also run it periodically over the winter. I've moved it and things. You don't want that stuff sitting around forever. You really don't. But ethanol fuel does not bother me. I've been using it in these classic cars for almost as long as there's been ethanol fuel, actually. And it's fine. But yeah, I have seen it do nasty stuff to carburetors. So don't really want it to sit around forever, especially because it degrades quickly. But yeah, apparently 3-4 months is fine. 5 or 6 months? Man, how long has that car been parked? Anyway. But no, I haven't heard of BG products. I don't know anything about that. Ross says, at the dock, can't you smell the ocean from where you are? It's 91 octane here. All the small gas engines, 2 strokes, and things that sit extended periods of time. Get it? Hey, that's what I was just talking about. Yeah, makes good sense. There is a dock. It's 20 miles that way. And I think it's kind of collapsing. It's the only fuel dock. We have a harbor here. There's no public fuel dock. There's no anything. We don't even have public docks in Aberdeen. It's ridiculous. There are public docks in Hoquiam, the next town over, and 2 boat launches. And it's awesome. Super cool. But yeah, no fuel. Shopcat Industries is here with us again. It says, "Sup, Jamie? What's up, Shopcat?" I believe Shopcat hit 1,000 subs last week, right? Are you rich yet? I'm not, but maybe you are. Oh, what did I do? I hit a button. I don't know what happened. Brent Forte says, yes, the 71 had one just like it. Golden butterscotch paint. God, I miss that car. And a green 72. And a white 73. Yeah, I've had a lot of darts. I love them. My 70 dart swinger was flat black with a white stripe. Really liked it. Excuse me. But I like darts. Darts are great. In fact, controversial opinion, I think the dart body is better than the duster body. I think it's more attractive. I like it. But for some reason, I own a Demon. I really like the Demon. I'm not saying I don't, but I've always liked the Swinger. Yes, John, great point. Don't need no block off if you use Magnum heads. Indeed. But then you also need the special intake, and you need push rods that work, and oil through lifters, and it's this whole thing. I need to do a high performance Magnum. That should be on my list. I think I already committed to doing that, but I don't actually have it in the works yet. I do have the 273 I was talking about in the works. I've been collecting parts. I sent Rooster some money. Weird he's not here yet. I should check on him. I sent him money. That'll be the last I ever hear from Rooster. Anyway. Yeah, Magnums are great. We've talked about that. Luke says, all my cars have been built from scrapyard parts. I love doing a lot with a little. Yeah, that's hot rodding. That's where the fun is. That's what I enjoy doing. So that's why I hoard old junk, so I can piece things together later. Hey, I'm getting close to the end of the comments here, which seems strange for as many people are here with us. So again, if you have any comments on our recent videos, my recent videos, there's no one else here. It's just me. Although Byron has helped me. He did the drone work and he filmed from trackside at the track the other day. So sometimes there's a we, but usually it's just me. Where was I going with that? Don't remember. Oh, yeah. If you have any comments about the recent videos, go ahead and drop them now. And if you have any questions for me, technical or otherwise, let me know. I can't tell you how to skin a cat, but I can tell you about bricks and mortar. John says, clean from old Mopar stuff is a different standard. Well, yeah, it doesn't take much to be clean. It depends on the part of the country you're in, really. Charlie Day says, I challenge you. I'm going to do a high compression 1.8 for my 93, and I'll race the Demon the next time I'm up there. I'll make that deal. I'll be your Huckleberry. Are we on a track, or are we going to Mexico? Gotta give me 2 car lengths. Anyway. All-wheel drive. That shit ain't fair. Big Wrench Tech says, will the Dakota 318 starter work on big blocks? Yes, it will. The only problem you're going to have is you need to take the terminal extension off, and then one of your wires, I think it's a big one, is actually going to tuck inside of a freeze plug on the big block. It's very close, so you need to be careful with your cable arrangement. You need to make sure that's tight. You might even want to double rubber it, because a dead short right there would not be fun. But I've set up several like that with the, that's what we call the mini starter. The later Dakota, Ram, everything 90s. In fact, I think they actually started using that in the late 80s. But yeah, it's like a nip and Denso starter. It'll work. Banana says it's far cheaper than an actual 70 Charger RT. Yes, it is. John says, I run corn in my Charger. Just dump fuel down the car if it's set a while. Yeah. I mean, it's going to evaporate no matter what. Yeah. Banana says, good news, though. He's doing really well. Awesome. Visited him today. He says he's moved on and found Bring a Trailer links on his phone. Yeah. Well, I hope he recovers quickly and gets himself another 70. Joel Shooter says, will the new Auto Trans bolt up to 360 as much as I hate giving up the 4-speed? Yes. New Auto. Now, what do you mean new, though? I mean, as long as it's a small block auto transmission, it will bolt right onto it. No problem. You just need to watch your balance. If you're using an old school 360, they had a old school transmission for a 360 would have a weight welded onto the torque converter. If you don't have that, you can get a balance plate that bolts right on the back of the 360. No problem. Bob says, I bet you've talked about it before, but what are your thoughts on Seafoam? I've heard it works really well. I don't really use it myself. I don't really use additives of any kind, frankly. But if I were to use one, Seafoam, I take that back. I use Lucas oil stabilizer. But yeah, I've used Seafoam, but I think only because it was free. I've never really run it through anything, I don't think. I don't know. It seems to me most of the problems people try to solve with Seafoam are actual mechanical and tuning problems that can be fixed without spending money on it. But I've heard it does good stuff. John says, you better go move the ocean away so everything stops rusting. Well, I do try to keep it inside. And I got to say, compared to like the Midwest, the rust ain't that bad. Excuse me. But yeah, you got a good point there. Christopher wants to know, do you have any comment on 7475 360 iron heads related to performance after porting? After porting? I mean, basically, Uncle Tony has said everything that I could possibly say. You know, if you already know about porting, okay, but basically take down the rough spots, clean everything up so it smooths out, flows nicely, but don't go crazy enlarging ports, runners, you know, stuff like that. Just a basic cleanup will do just about everything you need. Decent 3-angle valve job, or 5-angle, or 17-angle, however many angles. I did 3 on those heads. They seem to work very well. Again, we were just talking about blocking the heat crossover. Some manifolds just do that. Like the air gap blocks the heat crossover, so you're good to go. If you're using something like what I'm using, which is just a performer, old school performer, there is a heat crossover in there. It's meant as a stock type replacement. And we don't want that for the high performance, so block that off. And that's what I was talking about. I actually welded little plates into the heads. Other than that, you need good springs to match your cam. You're probably good. You know, there's not a whole lot more to it. Air in, air out, and control those valves. Oh, and put some roller rockers on there, or at least adjustables. Jimmy James says, got an old Scamp. Wish it had a 440 in it. Well, that is a problem that can be solved. Schumacher Creative Services is in production again, and they're making mounts, so get on it. I have never yet done a big block A-body, and I've considered it. There was a time when I had a set of the mounts sitting here, and I had a perfectly good 383 and a 67 Barracuda, and I thought it would be cool. I didn't do it. Someday. Yep. Carrie Kinzer is here with us again. Carrie Kinzer, of course, has the Magnum EFI group on Facebook. Very good group. Wholesome group. Not full of morons. I almost said morphons, which then makes me think of Art Arfons. Anyway, Carrie says, absolutely do a high-performance Magnum. Yes, I'd like to do that. Mike's 64 Dart, I did a video on last week. That is a performance Magnum. We built it pre-Dead Dodge Garage, I think, and we didn't do video on it. I am planning to go through that engine this coming winter. I think we had a problem with the bore finish to ring mismatch. I don't know if we finished it rough and we needed it not rough. I'm not sure. but it has a smoking and oil usage issue. It runs hard now, but it smokes. So I think this winter I'll be going through that, and that would be a good opportunity to talk about a performance Magnum. But I do want to build one for myself. Maybe the Demon will just turn into a car where I throw performance engine after performance engine in under the hood and see what happens. I kind of want to do that with that Screamin' 273, but I also think it's a good fit for the Barracuda. So yeah, a high performance Magnum is definitely in the cards. And I will say the 65 Barracuda that's in my shop that is still awaiting its turn for video, Mitchell's car, it has a Magnum headed LA, and I certainly plan to talk about that. It runs amazing. So that's all you really need to know. Slantfish Garage says, hey again, on your fuel boiling percolation issues in the Demon, you may want to look into using a return line back to your fuel tank or maybe a cool can. That's what I was just talking about, adding a filter that does have a return line. The 71 is already plumbed with a return line, so it's as easy as adding that filter, pulling the plug off I put on that line, and plugging it in. So that's a trick I learned from Uncle Tony. I am planning to do that. I think that will help. Yeah. John says, I love the Magnum because it's still around enough to pull my own junk. Had to pull a front cover not long ago after my balancer went on an adventure. That's fun. I mentioned that Ram, I did heads, all the gaskets, all of everything on. It just started leaking oil. He said oil pan, but it looks to me like it might be coming down from the front seal, the brand new front seal behind the brand new balancer. So that'll be fun. I get to fix that tomorrow. Good times. But yeah, the Magnum's still around. You can go to the junkyard and get one. Pretty cool. There is, in fact, I think I mentioned this, a Magnum 360 and an automatic, complete drivetrain at my favorite junkyard waiting for me. I probably need to get that soon. Oh, and I did already address that, Joel. Yes, definitely. You said new auto. I don't see a response since, but I was just asking, what you meant by new. I'm assuming you mean like rebuild or something, not modern. A 727 or an overdrive automatic from the early 90s will bolt right on there. Just make sure you get the balance right. JMR says 100 LL aviation fuel works pretty good in the old hot rods. When you mix it with 93 half and half, has a nice smell and it's blue. Interesting. Rooster and I were talking about aviation fuel. He was saying something about the effective octane rating isn't as high as people think it is. Something about it's designed to work at altitude, not at sea level. I don't know. But that's interesting. The car had race gas in it when I got it. And with race gas in the 340, it ran good. It's pretty much all my fault for going to premium. I just insist on being able to run it on premium. If I can't run it on premium, just a pain in the ass. Anyway, especially around here. Don't have a lot of good options for alternative fuels. We don't even have E85. There is not E85 anywhere near to here if I wanted to use it for like a boosted build. Can't get it. Walter G agrees with me, says on the Dart and Demon, agree. Oh, they look better than the Duster and Scamp Valiant. No, hold on a second there, because what I'm saying is not just the nose. I like the roof of the Dart Scamp, not the Demon Duster. My neighbor a few houses down had a 71 Dart, and his friend had a 73 when I was a kid. Yeah, I had my 70 for quite a while. Then I had my 73 5 times, I think, for quite a while. It's pretty cool. Oh, a few minutes ago, Big Wrench said I'm fixing to head out. It's getting late here in Florida. Have a good night. You too. Appreciate you being here, and I will talk to you later. John says starters are overrated. We just push our dump truck with the front loader. Strongly considering doing that with the 64 Power Wagon if it comes to it. But we'll see. Luke Tichinell. I just hope I'm saying that right. Not that I could say anything right. Says, I'm from West Virginia. Mopars are few and far between here. They're rotten or outrageously priced. I think we saw it 16 months out of the year. Yeah, not good. Charlie Day says, either, it's fine. Yeah, all-wheel drive. I'm sure it is. Banner says he's looking at a 69 Charger now. I said, you better watch those DDG Rust videos again. Yeah, you better do that. John says, when people try to sell me fixed in a can, I stop listening. Exactly. Having said that, A/B testing, Lucas Oil Stabilizer, it works. It slows down consumption. And in like my wife's Subaru, it was eating synthetic oil like you wouldn't believe. I put the synthetic Lucas in there and it cut it in fourths. She was commuting 20 miles each way every day, a little bit more actually. And it got to where it was using a quart a week at 120 something thousand miles. I started using the Lucas and it got down to a quart a month at most. So that stuff works, you know. I don't know what it does, but it works. Ditto, their power steering stopped leak. Her station wagon used to have a horrible steering leak, and it got to the point that it was a half a quart a day. And we put the Lucas stuff in it, and it slowed it down to like a half a quart every 4 to 5 days. And that's better. Yeah. Anyway, beyond that, yeah, I don't really put a lot of stock in that stuff. Great. Now I have to correct myself again. Marvel Mystery Oil is quite good as well. It works pretty well for brake leaks, turns out. Don't do that. Banana says, when he gets out, we'll go look at some classic Chargers. Not all is lost. Brent Forte says, at least in your drag video, you weren't surrounded by Fox bodies with LSs. Luckily, no. In fact, there was one Fox body there. It was red. It had a cow hood. I didn't get up close to it. I don't know what was in it. But great. Tom just sent me a link, and now I have to go buy a Power Wagon. There's another one next to it. It's a I think it's 48 like mine for $900. He says, how has that not sold yet? Well, it's a total piece of garbage, but yeah. Power wagons aren't cheap. Anywho. Yeah, Brent, I'm really impressed by the number of Mopars up there. Both times. Really impressed. John says, porting is only to fix the cost cutting from the factory. Yeah, that's the main part. But you are also changing some things. I mean, you're taking the guide down, smoothing that out. But yeah, basically, you're taking away horrible casting flash and core shift. You're just trying to clean it up. You know, you're not trying to make it huge. Unless you're going to make 8 gazillion horsepowers. Oh, and then Big Wrench came back and said, sorry, forgot my car keys. Here, I got them for you. Why does it look like I murdered a janitor? That's not even all of them. It's not even approaching all of them. Anyway. Dan says, that's what I like about living in the desert of Washington State. Yeah, the desert side, things don't rust so bad. I mean, over here, we've got ocean. Obviously, we've got salt in the air, but it could be worse. That's all I'm saying. And I keep the good stuff inside. Amy Harville is here with us. I believe Amy is Mrs. Big Wrench, if I'm remembering correctly, and says, sorry I'm late. I was walking my fish. Very good. Joel says, thanks. I was looking towards overdrive. Yeah, okay. So the A518, or it's also called a 46RH. Yeah, that's right. There's also the electronically controlled one, but then you need a computer, and that's way too much work. Yeah, so A518, 46RH, that is what you want. Your drive shaft's going to be different. I think your yoke's going to be different. So you'll have to contend with that, but it will bolt right to the engine. And depending on what year you get, it may still have a balanced converter, or it may have been behind a Magnum, and it could have a balanced flex plate. The balanced flex plate from the Magnum will not work for your 360. You need to make sure you get one of the balanced flex plates I was talking about. You can get those online. They're usually SFI rated. People use them for race car stuff, but they have the balance. They're a round plate, solid, but then they have like a half moon cutout on the one side. So that's what you would want. John wants to know, how do I not have E85? Because I kind of live in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. 51 of you out there. This is not enough comments. Is there something going on? Like, are you dual screening? Usually I'm like 37,000 comments behind at this point. This is very strange. Very strange indeed. So if you have any questions, now's the time. Christopher says, wish you were in California. LKQ pick apart has 18 separate yards. Yeah, they actually ship stuff too. I've gotten engines from them from yards all over. Just plugged an 8 3/4 489 case axle from a van. Also, have you used oil pans from Kevco? Just bought one for my Stroker 360. Haven't heard of Kevco. I am glad I don't live in California. I had the opportunity to live in California, chose not to. I have zero regrets on that one. But there is a lot more stuff. I don't know. It's part of the challenge, trying to find stuff, Mopar stuff. It's challenging, but it's also part of what I like about it, because it's exclusive. You have to know where to find the stuff. You have to go do the legwork. You have to collect. You have to hoard. You have to be a little nuts. If you're building a Chevy, just look in the Summit catalog. Just go to O'Reilly and look on the performance wall. There's an intake for you there. No problem. They can get you headers. They can get you all kinds of cams. They can get you cylinder heads. They can get you whatever you want. Mopars aren't like that. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just a challenge. You just kind of have to know that end of it, how to find what you need, what pieces work with what, But anyway, I do wish I had 18 different wrecking yards with classic Mopar. That would be nice. JMR says, stable 360 for a fuel additive works great in my cars. I will say, God, I'm just going to contradict myself for like the 18th time, but I did get some stable, the water remover stuff to put in the Power Wagon because, well, there's a hole rusted in the fuel tank I'm using, and I'm pretty sure there was rainwater in it, and it just didn't want to run. And I dumped that stuff in there and some fresh fuel, and it runs again. It's the weirdest thing. My sister says, hey! Maya says hi. Hi, Maya. I'm on the internet. XLMI says, I second avgas 100LL. Old high-performance cars. Love it. Smells like propane when it burns. Does not go bad. It burns at a higher temperature and might blue your pretty chrome headers. That's interesting. Oh, now you're on video moving keys. Yeah, your cat's going to love it. Anyway. My pretty headers, well, they're not chrome, they're coated, but I didn't even realize this. My Demon headers are stepped. I've looked at them many times, and I didn't realize until my brother looked under the hood today and went, stepped headers. Yeah, obviously. Leanburn wants to know, what is the difference between the A500 and 42RH or A518 and 46RH? Are they just two different names for the same overdrive transmission? Okay, well, hold on a second, because I'm pretty sure A500 is the newer rating for the 904. No? Okay, that is the overdrive. Yeah, 42RE. Modified A904. Yes, the light duty one, but it is overdrive. So what am I thinking of? A998, I think. A998, 999. Is that what I'm thinking of? 99831RH. Yes. Wide ratio version of the A904. A998. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah. So the 500 is the light duty version. Yes. Essentially, it is a 904 with an overdrive Goobert on the back. They changed their naming scheme in, I don't know, the early 90s. I don't remember when. So an A727 became a 36RH. Must have been a 36RH. Yeah, something like that. I think it's 3.6. The first number is the number of gears. The second number is the class rating, whatever. So, for example, the 4.2, that's a light duty, which is a 904 or a 500. Same crap. It's just a different name for the same thing. And then the 4.6, that's the heavier duty 727 base transmission. Then they had a 4.7, which is an even heavier duty version that was used behind the Cummins and the V10. And then in 2003, they went to the 4.8, which is an even heavier duty version. Funny note on those two, they are still 727 based. They just use beefier internals. So yeah, A500/42RH, that's one transmission. It's the smaller duty overdrive hydraulic control. Oh, right. R is rear wheel drive, I believe. It's gotta be. And the H is hydraulic control. And the later ones are E's, 42RE, 46RE. The E stands for electronic control, computer control. So yeah, A500 42RH are two names for the same thing, and A518 46RH, same answer, but the bigger ones. Big Wrench, if you're still here, I'm about to answer your question. Just saying. I'm about to answer your question. And it's a doozy. It's a good answer. You're going to like it. DJ Katiz says, some news on my Dart, just funny. One of the running lights doesn't come on when I use the headlight switch, but will come on when I use my turn signals and hazards. You probably have a bad ground. Or a bad socket. It is kind of funny. Craig, I've heard Berryman's works pretty well too. God damn it. Yeah, years ago I did run Berryman's. I can't say I noticed it do anything. It was free. I thought, what the heck? Big Wrench wants to know, last but not least, have you ever played a Rickenbacker? And yes, Amy is Mrs. Big Wrench. I thought so. I remembered something. Yes, I have played a Rickenbacker. Fun story. My good friend, bass player in my first band, roommate for a long time, stand-up gentleman, is Kyle Prado, son of Scott Prado, my number one troll. And at one time when we were teenagers, he bought a Rickenbacker bass. It was a really weird situation. Kyle is the bestest and purest of people. He didn't know or intend to be buying a stolen bass, but he did. And he found out after he paid for it. And he just didn't really know what to do with that information, if that makes any sense. Anyway, I was playing bass for a band. And of course, I was a grimy, poor-looking teenager. So I was at a show with that bass, and someone saw it and recognized it. And we kind of got in trouble. And he ended up going to court for that. And kind of a messed up situation. Because again, he didn't steal it. He found out it was stolen. He probably should have, turned it in or done something or asked for a refund. I don't know. But yeah, he was just kind of like shocked and taken aback. Like, okay. Yeah. So I played a Rickenbacker bass for a time. It was really cool. I plan to own one again someday when I'm rich. I've also played a Rickenbacker 12-string. It was fine, but I'm not really a 12-string guy. So there you go. John says, Mopar stuff means I'm better than you. That is not what I said, but it's what I implied. Not better, just different. It's just harder, It's just a fun game. That's part of the appeal. A big part of the appeal is the challenge. I kind of think they were better engineered, but in a way, they really, really weren't. They do cool stuff. They don't have problems that some of the other engine families do, but they do have others. So, there's no perfect answer, and I'm not here to make fun of Chevy guys. I'm just saying they have it really easy. They have it so easy. Oh, yeah, of course, your four-wheel drive. Will I have to change the transfer case? I don't know. I don't know if the spline is the same now that you say that. Crap. I don't have a good answer for that. You're going to have to find someone that knows more than me on four-wheel drive stuff. Generally speaking, I haven't done a lot of transmission swapping, transfer case swapping, what have you. I can't tell you if they are the same spline and the same adapter pattern or not. But obviously, you do need a four-wheel drive transmission. I hadn't even thought about that. You're a Ram Charger. You're short, also newer. It's married. So you're going to have a transfer case adapter that case bolts to. I don't know the answer to that question. It might be a good idea to look for an automatic and transfer case assembly from an early 90s truck. But I will tell you, when they went to the Ram body style, if I'm remembering correctly, they flipped the drop from the transfer case to the other side. So you can't use one from a Ram. I want to say, tentatively, you should be able to use the same transfer case. It should bolt on. It should be fine. But do not take my word for it. Try and verify that. If anyone else here knows about swapping between automatic and 4-speed in the 80s, Dan, looking your way, Dan, Tupper, transfer case. Is it going to bolt onto the back of an overdrive automatic from an MP435? I just don't know if the splines are the same. I don't know. Dan says, if the Navy sub-hunter planes don't use your house for calibration when they head out looking for Ivans, you haven't hoarded enough Mopar parts. Nice. Maya says, hell yeah. She subscribed last night. Oh, hell yeah. Thanks for that. Oh, yeah. Craig says, I put a bottle of Berryman's in my tank about every 4 tanks. It works. I've used it in cars that wouldn't pass DEQ to make them pass. Interesting. What about Sexy Bigfoot? If you go back and watch my Demon Drag Racing video from last summer, when I went to Bremerton there, I saw an El Camino with a portrait of Sexy Bigfoot on the tailgate. He's like all just laid out and, leg up and just the whole thing. And I was really excited about it, and I showed it on video. I kind of showed it from the staging lanes. Miles went with me that time, and I think he filmed that car running. But I don't really remember. Yeah, I'm not totally sure. But anyway, yeah. So that car was there, but it was black at the time. And I saw it on Friday. It was white, but the tailgate is still black with the Bigfoot on it. It's really cool. I don't remember what year that car is. I think it's a 71 or 2. El Camino with a healthy small block and a sexy Bigfoot on the tailgate. YT viewer says, was at a car show Friday. There was a 68 Charger, red, black roof, stripes, and interior sitting next to an early Mustang. Can't understand anybody seeing those two vehicles together and picking the Ford. Me neither. The Charger's just so much more, Wow. Luke says, I drove truck for a couple of years. The middle of the country is polluted with classic and antique autos. Of all the lower 48, myself and my wife loved Utah and Washington State. Yeah, we do like Utah quite a bit as well. We're planning to spend some more time there this year, but I guess we'll see how that goes. Yeah, Utah's cool. So many rocks, different colored rocks, various rocks. The weather's nice sometimes, except when it's cold and windy and you're parked next to a big lake. But yeah, you get out into Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and you just look off all of these 2-lane highways and old truck, old truck, old truck, old iron, all over the place. It's everywhere. Yeah, there used to be a whole lot more of it around here. It's definitely gotten a little thinner. Scott says, yes, I remember that incident. A good time was had by all. Rooster's finally here to make fun of Chevy guys, and Ford is a 4-letter F word. Surgeon General never said anything about smoking a Ford. Nice. That's why there haven't been so many comments that I've actually been able to keep up. Rooster wasn't here. Glad you made it. I was telling everyone about the recent purchases a bit ago. I haven't shown pictures. I can do that in a minute. Luke says, I hauled a lot of 2-ton rolls of paper out of Washington State. We had paper mills here. We don't anymore. Tom can just not help but send me ads. Ooh. That's funny. So he sent me that Power Wagon ad, and I said, there's another one next to it. Okay, this is a different one, but the one in the middle there, that's the one I saw in the other picture. Figure that one out. $1,200. No one go buy this. I need it. Comes with a plow. Please contact John. Great. Now I have to contact John because, well, the fenders are rusting off it, but it's still the right bed. And it's got a spare tire carrier and at least one of the rear steps. Aww. Oh, it's so much better than... It's not better than mine. It's a total turd. But the bed's really good. So I might have to go to Oregon. Who's posting their classic for sale to avoid the quick devaluation? Coming soon. I'll piss up a rope. Holy crap, they have another one. This is the actually good one. Wow. Yeah, they have a complete one in 3 parts rigs. I'll be damned. Runs and drives. Winch works. Even that one is reasonably priced. Who is it? Oh.
Ava in here?
Ava is not in here. Take that dog with you. Hi, Charlie.
Then where is Ava?
I don't know where Ava is. This is Charlie. She hates this. All right, go away. She might be building Legos. I don't know. Go, Chuck. Go with Henry. Okay, bye. Good luck. Anyway. Oh, yeah, as I was saying, there were multiple paper companies here, but now there aren't. Big Ranch says, before I go to sleep, unfortunately, it seems like the Mopar guys around Florida will have a rusty frame with 4 wheels on it asking for $1 million and saying, I know what I have. Well, I have no comment. You're the one that lives in Florida. Dan says, how do you feel about putting a slant 6 in my car? Well, we might have some floor clearance problems, but it does sound pretty fun. Good night, Big Ranch. Take it easy. You and Mrs. Big Ranch, you have a good one. I'll see you next week. Dan says he'll dig into the 4-speed auto and overdrive. 4-speed auto, overdrive, and TK stuff. So we will see. Bob's got an idea. Everyone's first car. What did you roll, people? Tom, yeah, call the guy, fine. I just need a bed. That's all I need. I don't need another project. I just need a bed. That parts one's looking pretty good. The one that has the 48 bed. You can have the spare tire carrier. Heck of a deal. We'll roll down there. Let's go. Tuesday? I got cash. What did you roll in? First car. The first car I really actually drove was my mom's 92 Corolla, which she did not drive. That was inherited from my great-grandmother. But the first car that was mine that I drove was my 74 Duster. So I don't know which one of those we count. My sister says, see y'all later. Got to head home for my mini vacation. Well, at least you got one. That's good to hear. Crashes Roadrunner Garage says his first was a 70 Chrysler Newport, 2-door 383. Rooster says, what'd you buy? Oh, old Roadrunner parts. Yep. Bob says mine was 73 Riviera. Cool. I like the bow tails. I'm a fan. Rooster's got to split again. Well, fine. Be that way. Take it easy. I might still be here in 10 minutes, but I don't know. Joel says you can get a rust-free Power Wagon down here in Phoenix. I bet. Sounds expensive. My truck is almost entirely rust-free. I want a correct bed. I put a 70s bed on it, and I'm fine with that. But if I could get a correct one and it actually has all the correct frame braces and fenders, yeah, that sounded pretty good. I want that. Also, Phoenix is a long way away. These are down in Oregon, so like I can at least get there and back in a day, you know? Sounds convenient. But yeah, you've got all the good metal down there. Mr. PF Flyer says first car he owned, 67 Dodge Coronet wagon with 273. Luke Tichenel says 72 Dart Swinger first. First I drove was the 74 Maverick. Craig Bully, first car, 68 Impala, two-door hardtop. JMR, 47 Willys truck with a 283 and PG trans. I've actually had two of those Willys, whatever you want to say, pickups. They were both total pieces of garbage, but I like them. One of them had a Studebaker V8 in it, but it was C solid, and I didn't even think it had heads on it. It was really bad. Jorge says, man, bad storms down here. Lost power for a little bit. Back on for the tail end of the live. Well, I'm glad you made it back. Okay, cool. And you've got your first driver there. I'll get to that in a minute. Rich Jordan says, first car, 71 Challenger 318 with Mercury Cougar rims on it. Interesting. But yeah, you could do that. But here's a good one. Robert Powell, I believe. 1964 A100 van. Cool. Dan Berg's first was the 58 Rambler Classic. Yep. Oh, Jorge Hernandez says, my first driver was a 97 Ram with 5.9. Love that truck. I actually wanted it since I was a big fan of Walker Texas Ranger. Nice. Very cool. It was a long time before I drove a Ram, actually. This is going to seem silly because you guys know what I tend to collect around here. But when I was first driving, I thought trucks were ridiculous. Why would anyone want a truck? They're just huge and silly. And what are you going to do? Go bury it in mud or something? Whatever. Drive a car, man. Come on. Now I'm like a huge truck guy. It's incredible. Because they do stuff. I was going to give him your answer, Scott, but I guess you chimed in to do it yourself. Scott also says, I seem to remember a small incident in your Toyota at work. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. I tried to start it up one day, and a pink can full of some sort of gas exploded under the hood. Broke my radiator, bent the hood. Yeah, that cost someone a couple bucks. Anyway, Scott started in a 64 Bel Air station wagon. Used to haul firewood with it. Nice. There's a 64 Bel Air on the property right now, but it's a sedan. Not as much room for firewood. Banana's first was a 74 Oldsmobile Delta 88 in black, four-door sedan. Stacy Renner's was a 1980 Pontiac Sunbird with the Buick V6 and a 4-speed. That's kind of cool, actually. The Oddfire. Tony B's was 66 Sport Fury 383 Auto. Cool. Banana says, as time went on, the infamous GM Rust consumed the Oldsmobile. And after many Bondo repairs, I had to give her up. 305,679 miles on the clock by 1999. Nice. My first car, that Corolla, if my brother hadn't kerploded the transmission, it would still be going strong. I don't think it would be at 305,000 yet, but good stuff. I feel a sneeze coming on. My mother chose to correct me and say, my Toyota, thank you very much. And she used an obscenity in poor taste. Yeah, Scott blew up my mom's Toyota. No, things are happening. This is where I meant to go. Walter G says, my first car was an 86 Chevette, more like a shit vet. Spun a rod bearing, tried to keep up with my buddy's V6 Firebird after 2 months of owning it. It was a hand-me-down. Now, I'm not here to say anything nice about F-bodies, but I had a V6 powered Camaro, 92 Camaro. It was pretty fun. It had enough horsepower to do burnouts. One-leggers, but still, it was okay. I'd rather have that than a Chevette. Sorry. Brent Forte says 70 Cuba, but I'm sure that's CUDA. I don't think there are any Cubas running around with 340s. Oh, that's cool. 70 CUDA, 340 4-speed, black. Nice. And a 56 Dodge Stepside was what a friend of mine had in high school. Nice. I did a video on a 56 Dodge Stepside once. YT viewer says, my first vehicle was a 73 Bronco, bought from my uncle for $400. Sold it to a guy who chased me down on the highway because he really wanted it. I regret that, but it's been all Mopar since. That's cool. Ah, yes, right. Scott says, it's called an acetylene bomb. I was very upset I didn't get to watch. Yeah. Nicely done. I actually found bits from a previous test of an acetylene bomb on the work truck. And I didn't know what exactly I was looking at the time. The kid that bought the gold Barracuda just messaged me to ask, what is the difference between a duster and a gold duster? Nothing important. I just realized what time it was. Is B, what it do? It's 7:59, which means it's just about time to go, folks. I'm sure most of you know that. But I'll get through these last couple comments. I want to say I really appreciate you all being here with me. Super cool. Now I have to go watch Uncle Tony's live and see if he mentioned my name. That'll be really exciting for me. But yeah, almost 50 people here for the entire live stream. That's awesome. Super good. Personally, I thought the pacing was really great tonight. I managed to keep up with the comments, so I appreciate you all for jiving with that. It's cool. It's helpful. It's going to be tough when we have 100 people here, and that day is coming. Make no mistake. But anyway, I appreciate all you long haulers. They're always here. It's good stuff. Have a good night, folks. If you're clocking out now, I don't mind. I'll answer the last few questions here, or people's first cars and such, and we'll call it a night. Luke says, I'm not a truck guy at all, but my 2000 Durango is solid axle swapped, 5-speed swapped on 39 5s, and it's almost as tall as my Javelin on 40s. You have all of the cool stuff. There's a guy with a solid axle swap Dakota right up the street. He wanted to trade it for the 79, which, nah. But it's cool. Joel says, first drove 73 MGB. It was my sister's. I was 12. First car, 70 Opel Kadett 4-speed. Nice. Jorge says, the 55 is my first old car. What is the story behind deleting the amp meter on vintage cars? Should it be replaced with a voltmeter? The reason for replacing it is because they tend to become on fire. They're the weak link in your electrical system. All of the loads are going through that. If you're running a factory electrical system, I mean, that 55 would be 6 volt. So if you're running that, I wouldn't worry. If you're going to add big stereo, or if you're going to convert to 12 volt, or if you're going to add on a bunch of extra lights or, extra loads, you want to get away from the amp gauge. The firewall connector is the bigger problem in most classic Mopars. I don't think that applies to your truck, but I don't know. I don't really know what that situation looks like. I think they're hardwired. I think in those years it's hardwired straight through the firewall, so that's not a problem for you. But the gauge, it's a problem in some cars, especially later 60s and 70s Mopars. It's kind of the weak part of the electrical system. And then people replace them with a voltmeter so they still have an idea of whether they're charging or not. That's what the amp meter was for. Is my battery charging? Is my battery discharging? Voltage kind of sort of gives you the same information. And Dan's first, I think I knew this, was the 64 Dart GT push button, black with red trim and interior, which is cool. Just like Mike's, but black instead of white. My mom is still a little cranky about someone trying to blow up her car. She apologizes for the obscenity. You can cuss in lives. I just don't do it. In case kids are watching. Jimmy James says, talked Dad into a 68 Camaro. I loved it. Had to go to school and he took it back and brought me a 73 Pinto. Was heartbroken and angry about it for a very long time. I would be too. That's messed up. Dan says, first muscle car I drove at 13 or 14 was a Mark Donahue 401 Javelin. Drove it all over Portland, midnight movies, etc. Nice. Stacy's out. Says, have a good night, everyone. I'll message you some info tomorrow. I'm off to work on that stupid Ford. Good luck with that. Nobody mess with Mama Garage. She's serious business. Good night, Dan, Bob, Rich, Craig, Tony. You guys all take it easy, and I'll see you next week. Scott says, wow, I actually stayed through the whole show without turning off the volume. That's weird. We'll fix it next week. Banana says, I babied that car. Never let anyone else drive it or borrow it. It was so comfortable. Spent many concerts sleeping in that living room interior. Nice. JMR says, 10 p.m. in Crosby. Good night, Uncle Jamie. Good night, JMR. We'll see you later. Jorge says we had up to 61 viewers tonight. I didn't see that many, but that's awesome. That's definitely the highest number we've ever seen. So again, thank you very much, especially to you folks that stick it out and stay here the whole night. I really appreciate it. Rooster says, I'm back. What did I miss? Everything. You missed everything. I'll see you later. Good night, Mom. Thanks, folks. Take it easy. Hope you had a good time. I certainly did. And we'll see you next week. Good night, Jimmy. Have a good one.